And we're live. Hey everyone, Tammy Anderson Ward, conference producer for the Energy Healing Conference. And I'm here today because I'd like to do a speaker spotlight for one of our speakers that is going to be at the conference this Saturday. And of course, those of you who can't come live and in person at the conference, I still want you to get to know LaMonte Wilcox. I've worked with him personally and have really enjoyed the things that I've learned from him. I'm going to go ahead and drop his YouTube channel here in the comments so that you can check it out as well. I'm also going to go ahead and put his website across the bottom of the screen. And then I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to him and bring him on. LaMonte and his daughter, McKelle, they work together, have taught hundreds of people how to transform the way they use their brain and relieve the debilitating childhood and societal patterns that have been passed down for generations. Nearly every single major mental health problem has been addressed using the NAAP model they created. The result, massive increase in mental freedom and confidence that they can apply to parenting and intimacy and pass on to future generations. They are passionate about providing this priceless gift because of their own personal struggles that have held them hostage to their own thought patterns and their past thought patterns. I gotta make sure that I emphasize that. LaMonte is the founder of Fulfill Life Yourself, LLC, and the author of NAAP, a guide for mental wellness facilitators. This organization teaches facilitators and parents how to help others use their brain through the NAAP model. This transcends all previous methods and replaces those health struggles with massive life fulfillment. So his class title is Parenting and Relationships Despite Effects of Technology. And I want to share one thing before I bring him on. First of all, because I personally have worked with him, and I am so grateful for, when you break through a paradigm, when you break through and you have this like light bulb moment, like an aha. And you're kind of like, it's like a fleeting moment almost if you don't grab it and hold on to it and kind of chew on it or like hold it close to you for a minute. He's been able to help me with some of those. And I've been really thankful. If you've ever had kind of like your foundation shattered before and you're like, I don't know what I believe now. I don't know what's going on. He's been able to help me with those. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him on, turn the time over to him without further ado. Please welcome LaMonte Wilcox. How are you, my friend?
Great. Thank you so much, Tammy. That was a great introduction. We have so much fun helping people to change the way that they're using their brain.
Yeah,
because it gets in the way of so much of what we can experience in life. Any level of our not succeeding and having a life we want, it's because the way we're using our brain.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I actually would love to have you maybe share a little bit about how you got into this. And then give us like a little sneak peek of your class that's going to be happening on Saturday. There's a lot of people who are going to be watching this, whether it's live or on the replay, right? Lots of people watch our videos later. And I would love to have them have a way to be able to connect with you as well. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over for you to do that.
Great. Well, that sounds good. I'm super excited. Normally my daughter's here. She had some technical difficulties, so she's not on with me, but she'll be there at the conference speaking. And there's a lot to do with relationships in our brain, how we use our brain in relationships and how we meet these chemical needs in our brain drives how we experience relationships. And I got into this because I had a lot of personal mental health struggles. And of course, they affect our relationships in tremendous ways. And that's why I love to have my daughter come on, because she gets to share kind of what her experience was with the change that she saw in me over time and within our family and how things change with us. But this struggle that I was having led me to start to research and study lots of alternative ways to try to figure out how to solve a lot of these mental health struggles that we have. And as I started to figure it out and understand it at a deeper level, I realized that that a lot of mainstream society and the way that they try to solve the problems of mental health, according to the neuroscientists, they're actually focusing on the wrong things. They're focusing on the symptoms. So they tend to, use, and I talk about this in an earlier video that we posted about what we're going to talk about at the Energy Healing Conference, but just a real quick overview of that. They look at all these labels that they give people, or these diagnoses that they give them, like OCD or all these different clinical anxiety and all these different terms. They're defining what the neuroscientists say are not the problem, that those are actually symptoms to a deeper problem. So I started to research this and learn it more and more, and I put together this model that we call NAP, that is a walkthrough of how our brain is developed, how it's designed, how it's created, and how it functions at such a level that our subconscious mind is able to grasp these concepts. Our conscious mind is able to grasp these concepts and kind of make what we call a handshake between the conscious and the subconscious. Now, imagine for a minute that any struggles that you might be having and any difficulties that you might be having that you're going through, or struggles, things that make life hard, things you can't figure out, problems you're trying to solve. If you could do a handshake with your subconscious and allow it to open up to your conscious mind, and let your conscious mind go in and find all that information that it needs, and imagine how creative you become. And creativity is how to solve problems, right? Creativity is how to solve problems. In our relationships, especially in parenting, we have this really intense need right now in parenting, because according to people like Elon Musk, he says our technology is advancing way further along and faster than our wisdom on how to use it. And so we don't realize these effects, but the neuroscientists are realizing lots of these effects. And so this world that's been created around us, the society that we are growing up in, is changing the development of our brain. And our children are struggling from it. And as parents, we're struggling to figure out what to do to help our children to have the best outcome, and to be able to be resilient in life and go out and be excited, enthusiastic, and have energy, and be able to go after the things they want in life. And so as I started to put this stuff together in this model, I started feeling massive change within myself, complete difference in who I was and how I act. And I think I think I had a lot of patterns that some would call narcissistic patterns. I had a lot of real deep struggles inside myself, and they were ones that I just couldn't see. I was one of those positive people. I'll just be positive all the time, and everything's great because I'll just focus on the things that are great, and that's it. But the problem with being positive, and there's nothing totally wrong with it, but it doesn't solve problems directly, right? It can help, but it doesn't solve problems. And there's a lot of modalities and a lot of attempts to help people, which are really to relieve them from their feelings, relieve them from their experience, but not really solve what created the problem, right? So if you go out and you do something to help yourself, to relieve stress or to get that out, that's step one of the process. But most people just take that step one, they feel better, and they think, oh, that helped. But then they have to go back and do it again, and they have to go back and do it again and again and again. And that's what I noticed in my journey and with myself and my family and the different struggles we had, is that it didn't seem to last. It didn't seem to have this effect that would just stay. We'd have to keep going back. And so as I researched and I went deeper into this, I started to figure out the brain and understand deeper, and it changed me. And then I started being able to help other people. And I was lucky enough to run into a Dr. Oliver at the Neuro Clinic in Lehigh. And I shared with him what I was putting together. And he said, that aligns with everything that I understand about neurology. So why don't you open an office here, and I'll let you work with all my patients, because I've gained this reputation of helping people with addiction and mental health struggles. And suicide was a really common one. And I was able to help the first few patients that he sent me. One of them was borderline personality disorder. One was multiple suicide attempts, and then another one. And each one of them had this major shift in just one day, major shift. So he invited me to open an office there. Long story short, I spent 2 years working with people every single day with these mental illnesses in kind of a clinical setting that was really unique for me to be able to have that opportunity. But it was because of the sheer effectiveness of the tool and how much it helped people. And I got to help people on all spectrums of mental health, literally these people were usually people who had tried almost everything they could think of, and now they were, trying something alternative, and just had major success with it. It was just absolutely life-changing. So what we're going to go over in this conference is what parents are doing to their children unknowingly that is setting them up for suffering and pain. And we don't understand as parents. Our society is built to control and to create scenarios and situations for our children that make life really, really difficult and make them incapable of dealing with what life has in front of them. We live in the most incredible time of all, where there really is not very many reasons to be unhappy, yet we are very unhappy. There's a researcher, or not a researcher, a teacher at Yale University who started a class called The Science of Happiness, and it became the number one most attended class. And she starts out with, we should be happy. I mean, the people at Yale, they pretty much are set for life. If you just get into Yale, that's enough that you will be assured a financial, free life just by getting in. But yet they're some of the least happy people. And so they started taking these courses. She started teaching these different concepts to help people understand. And this concept that we are being programmed through our childhood and life experiences in ways that don't help us to be resilient and capable. If you stop and think for a minute, what do you struggle with and what do you suffer with? Because whatever that is, your kids are going to take it and they're going to 10x it. Because this new way that our brains develop in this new, and even if you're not allowing your kids to have cell phones or whatever, it's still it's affecting the group as a whole. And there's a lot to it, and I don't have time to go into all that now, but that's what we're going to kind of cover and help you see some of the things that you're doing as a parent. They're actually, we call it pre-framing or preparing your children to struggle in life, like really struggle. And they're simple things. They're often things that we think we're doing well for our children. We think we're parenting well, but we're actually setting them up for real pain. I've worked with many, many families that were struggling with mental health struggles of all sorts and all types. And it always goes back to helping the parents see and understand what they were doing that was actually detrimental to their kids. And often they felt like it was an expression of love, like it was what they thought was going to be the best thing for their children. And if you're struggling as a parent, you're passing that on to your kids, and because of the way their brains are developed, they're going to 10x that. They're going to really take it to a level that is much more difficult than you're experiencing and much more debilitating than what you're experiencing. And that's what we're seeing. That's the trajectory of mental health, suicide rates, everything. They're all exponential. So we're really struggling. Alzheimer's is a result of mental health issues throughout their life. And now they're at the end of their lifespan and their brain is just, it's just not keeping up. And so it deteriorates in a way that creates this dementia and other things that are just really, really rough. And so learning about the concepts of how your brain works, this is the funny thing, is we're going through life and we're using this brain all day, every day. It is creating our experience, yet we don't even know how it works. We don't even understand the chemical processes, the location, what location does when you're thinking about something, what location you use to think about that thing. We don't even understand the chemicals and how they relate to our emotions and how to analyze that. And so as I worked with these clients, I'd get people to have massive shifts in just one sitting, and they would be able to look at their scenario now and analyze it and then change what was going on, change the patterns and the habits. This is a really incredible experience and opportunity to learn about your brain, to figure out what you've been doing, to understand how it's been messing up your life and your children, and to really discern and see it clearly so you know what to do, right? You'll get it, because we have these maps inside of us and there are perceptions of this world, and they get in our way to getting in and tapping into who we are and to really realizing the reality and the truths that are in us. They're built into us. We have all truths inside of us in these three brains, we call them. And to tap into those and to be able to know what you can say or do or to help other people without a question. Like, yeah, I totally know that's going to work. If you're trying to raise children and you're trying to do it the scientific approach where you test it out by trying and then you see what the results are and then you make adjustments based off results, you're in trouble, right? Because if any of you out there have teenagers and you're looking for their reaction and response to decide how you're going to act, you're in trouble because they don't show it. They go the opposite. They'll do, they're not going to help you see what's effective. You got to tap into that yourself and find it. And with this model, you're able to do this in a way that's so effective and helpful for not only you and the peace that you feel when you know what you're doing, right? When you know, and that confidence that you get. And your kids will learn most from what you do. And if you're trying to raise your kids, but you lack confidence in that and you're not really sure what to do, they know that, right? And they're learning to be not confident. They're learning to doubt themselves. They're learning to feel guilty about their shortcomings. They're learning all the things you're doing. And so by you doing this and changing, you change their lives. You change their future. You change the future of your relationship with them, with their spouses, with your grandchildren, with everybody. And so I'm really excited to share more. I'm excited to have my daughter here, so you get to meet her and see and be able to communicate with her. We're going to have other facilitators there. We're going to have other clients that you can talk to. Where there's a bunch of them coming to this conference, and so it'll be really fun. So I'm really excited to be there and to meet you guys and just to have fun with it. I tell people, you know what, you're struggling with these things, this depression, this lack of motivation, all this stuff. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. And they usually are like, oh, I don't think it's going to be fun. And at the end I say, was it fun? And they're like, you're right. It was fun. So that's what we love to do. So thank you so much, Tammy, for inviting us to this conference and putting it together and doing all this fun stuff for people to help free them from so much unnecessary suffering and pain that's going on in this world.
It's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. We'll see you Saturday, my friend. Thank you.
Okay. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Sounds good. If you're curious about what else is going on at the conference on Saturday, I just want to encourage you to come and check it out. On our website, we have a schedule that is there. You can choose your own conference experience. There's lots of different classes and experiences. And then, of course, in the vendor hall, we have literally over 80 different options for you this time. So this is a packed house. We're way excited. There's breath work. There's sound bath experiences. Reiki practitioners will be there literally doing sessions for people right there on the spot. So it's a great self-care day as well. Lots of crystal vendors and different options, accessories that you can come and learn about and look at and feel it, hold it in your hand and see if it's something that you want. There's also going to be light therapy that is complimentary. So if you come to the vendor hall, definitely go sign up for those first as well. Go check out LaMonte and his daughter, McKelle. They're beautiful and lots of fun things to do. So we're excited. Well, that's happening in Sandy on Saturday. There we go. There's a tongue twister for you. And we'll see you guys there. Thanks so much for being here. Bye, everyone.